I'm excited to see the development situation in the Turks and Caicos because my academic interests revolve around sustainable development and international affairs. So this will be a great case study, and I think we'll be able to bring a lot of valuable resources back to Lewis and Clark. So ultimately, that's what I'm most excited for.
I think just learning a different way to live. I've lived in Oregon for most of my life. I haven't really traveled anywhere else. So I think just learning how different people live in different conditions, in a different climate, in a different part of the world, with different values and a different understanding on what's important to them.
I am super excited to be in the part of the world that I've never been to, and to be in a new place where I get to meet new people that I normally would have no access to. And we've been planning to go on this trip for a while now, so I'm really excited how it'll unfold.
What do I plan on doing with information? I kind of plan on connecting it with a lot of my classes. I took a sociology class and I'm taking an environmental studies class right now. So basically make connections with everything that I'm studying within the classes, and then the first-hand experience that I get from actually going to the place. And then hopefully being able to do something bigger with that connection.
I'm just excited to be on the island in general. I think I'm so excited that I don't know what I'm supposed to be excited for. And just showing up, I think I'm going to see a bunch of different things that I'm all going to get pumped for all of them. And yeah, I'm just excited about the whole thing.
Right now I think I'm just most excited to be in a new place and a different pace of life, a different schedule and that sort of thing. Yeah, just exploring a new place, I think. I think it will be interesting to see how biology intersects with these different issues, like sustainability and development. They're all things I'm interested in but haven't got the chance to study very much at LC, being a science major, so I'm excited for sort of new material.
Ian is asking me to express my nervousness about our travel plans. And I really don't know what to say, but we are going to get on a plane. We're going to get on a ferry. We're going to go. And we're going to get there. It's going to be awesome. And he's going to put the camera away so that we can do it. I don't know what direction's what right now.
Okay. Well, actually, we are traveling east right now. We're actually on Airport Road. We're gonna take a little detour also. You guys will notice as we get to these junctions that there are no stop signs. We're using these roundabouts as a traffic check. It helps traffic to flow freely, if you notice. The rule of this roundabout, or all of them actually, is give way. So they get in the roundabout before oncoming traffic, they have to yield to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have them in my town.
Right. So we won't actually travel this way because the downtown is blocked off. Today we're going through a by-election.
Oh, interesting.
So we recently went back to elected government last year, November 9th. And one of the constituencies, there were 3 of the candidates. One of the candidates was not properly registered, and they realized that after the elections had finish.
Wow.
So that particular constituency has gone back to by-election,
Wow.
which happens to be today.
Wow.
So there's a heavy voting process going on right now as we speak.
Yeah, what are the views on that?
Well, the general public is not necessarily happy about it,
Yeah, I can imagine.
but it was a close race. There's only 15 constituencies in the Turks and Caicos Islands. The governing party had 8. So that one seat can make a grave difference.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it turns out. I think we should have some results probably by this evening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
If the now governing party, which is the PNP, Progressive National Party, if they win, it's more than likely they'll have a big party somewhere in South Caicos. If the PDM wins, you probably won't see a party in South Caicos because always PNP, South Caicos was a PNP town basically. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
In which year did the first all-inclusive resort come to Turks and Caicos Islands?
Oh, I don't know. This
1984.
Good answer, man.
You right?
Where did you pick that one up from?
A book somewhere.
Good answer, dog.
What's your favorite part of Provo?
My favorite part actually happens to be Northwest Point.
No.
The area down there, Northwest Point.
Northwest Point. Okay.
Yeah, I live in that zone actually. So when I'm off, I go wandering around and looking for opportunities for development, you know?
Development as in land development?
Land, yeah.
Do you own commercial estate?
Me?
Yeah.
At the moment, I have 1 3-bedroom home, but I have an acre of property that I'm developing.
Oh, really cool.
It's coming along pretty nice.
What do you plan on building there?
I'm gonna do some villas, you know. Guests come in. It's a very beautiful time. It's not really directly on the beach, but you're 3 minutes from the beach. So it's a really nice panoramic view.
That's good.
I'm gonna, you know, put a couple of horses in there, a couple of bikes, 1 or 2 boats, some kayaks. So people can have access to water sports and horseback riding and that sort of stuff when they come down. Probably take me a good part of the rest of the year to get it completed, but I want to do it out of my pocket, not go to the bank, you know?
That's wonderful.
All right, everybody. This is it.
Announcement. I learned last night we should purify our water.
Oh, good to know.
But if nothing has happened to you, you're probably fine.
But
It's somewhat purified already.
it's somewhat purified, but a local person told me that they purify their water. And so I'm like, if you purify it, we should probably purify it. Because our immune systems aren't the same. So if you've had the water, it's fine. You're not going to die. You're okay. And we're just going to purify it from now on. Otherwise, in situations, we'll get bottled water. And then once the School for Field Studies opens on Monday, we're going to fill our water there. And they have their own purification system, and it's totally safe. So it's fine. And nobody freak out. Just keep it in mind. And if you need...
Are you feeling sick, Hunter?
No, he's just been encouraging everybody how bored they are. You just drained it right before we cheered.
I just have something.
People are really friendly, they're really comfortable just kind of, you know, introducing themselves and saying what's going on and just, that so much.
I think one thing was weird was that also Natasha pointed out was that when we came over on the ferry, there was only women, and then last night I realized kind of when it was nighttime and like out on the town, it was mostly just men, especially at that restaurant and like drinking at the bar and walking the streets. So it's kind of the whole gender roles is very interesting, and it seems kind of separate. I'm kind of looking forward to see where everyone stands.
Yeah, what's really interesting is also these half-developed projects like Danny and I were talking about. And a lot of them aren't finished, and that stuff isn't fully torn down. It's just everything is
We were actually at the restaurant yesterday talking to Will, I think. And yeah, he was saying how the island people come and go. So like every year, the young people here just want to get out, and so he said when they leave, it feels way smaller. And he also said like they go in search of a better life, but they don't necessarily find it every time. So.
And he also mentioned that there was one guy who owned most of the stores and restaurants on the island who started as a fisherman and then saved his money. And it kind of sounded like he was somewhat of an authority figure, correct me if I'm wrong. Or
I think he owns this hotel.
Oh, really? Yeah. And it sounds like he was, a similar layperson who saved his money and was a little business savvy. Somewhat owns.
Was it the owner of that hotel?
I believe his name is Cleopas' family.
Oh.
And so I think the way that works is it was more of a property thing and then also raising money. I guess that is
Oh.
so it's a family thing. It's actually kind of controversial. Like, you own, so much land and have such a division. Like, you didn't necessarily see it, but there are definitely wealthier people on this island that they kind of sometimes they try to hide it, and sometimes they don't. And there's a bit of a divide.
I almost wish that we had more time on Provo because I wanted to see their election process, and I wanted to go look at their voting booths and talk to some people about if they were frustrated with the process and if they trusted their officials and stuff like that.
It's cool also because everyone knows each other, and they talk about that. As a result of such few people, literally everyone knows each other, and I think it's kind of cool, going into that restaurant, walking around the town, and just being able to be friendly with everyone. And just last night, those people we were hanging out with said, in a matter of 4 days, everyone's going to know you by your first name and call you by your first name. So there's a very welcoming feel to having this be such a small place with such few people.
What's interesting, I think, is I did see some kids yesterday, but not so many. So I'm wondering, can these families here afford to raise a kid? What's the structure of the population here? Are they basically old people or still some young people?
I also noticed that, and today I'm looking forward to seeing who's out during the daytime, and also we have yet to see because it's still the weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how it works during the week.
So welcome, guys. The rest of the field exercises, but we do a conch assessment. We do an MPA. We compare corals inside the MPA versus outside the MPA. We do a lionfish invasive species study, so we send everybody out and they collect lionfish data from seagrass beds, mangroves, coral reefs, that sort of thing. We work very closely with our stakeholders here. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. And often a lot of the policies wouldn't be made without us being here. We work very closely with DEMA, which is the Department of Environment and Maritime Affairs. They just changed their name and I'm still trying to get used to it. But we work very closely with them For example, as you know, conch and lobster are the biggest export from the Turks and Caicos Islands, but there hasn't been a conch assessment done since 2001. So DEMA is very short budgeted, so the work that we're doing, we include students to start doing conch assessment.
So given the limited resources of DEMA, right? So you all are doing a ton of research, it sounds like, to help create policy that will create a more sustainable system.
We hope,
right?
Yeah.
So then what happens with those policies? If DEMA doesn't have a lot of funding, how are those things enforced?
There's very little enforcement. That is absolutely the problem here. And Deep is coming today, and that was part of this Darwin project that we had, this most recent Darwin project. He went around to different agencies, different stakeholders to talk about what we felt was the limiting factor in resource management. And for us, or at least for me, it's enforcement. I mean, we can sit here day after day and watch people fish for conch right in front of our doorstep. We used to call them. They say thank you, but there's nothing that they can do because they don't have a boat here and they don't have gas. So the only thing they can do is stop them when they come in, and there's no way to prove that they collected those conch in the reserve.
So when you say stakeholders, who specifically are you talking about?
Well, it'll be DEMA, it's the fishermen, the processing plants, local merchants are involved, So when we go to a stakeholder meeting on the island, it's typically the 3 plants are well represented and the fishermen are really very vocal.
I feel like there's an equal share among those stakeholders in terms of like voice and power around that table?
I think that the fishermen here have more of a say than I've seen in other places. Certainly the processing plants have a louder voice. They have the money behind them. They come into these meetings with, we have jobs to offer. So they bring the right words. I think that DEMA is, the woman who's in charge of DEMA now has a background in marine science. So I think that's a good thing as compared to in the past where the DEMA person didn't have that strong of a background. So I do think that the fishermen have a strong say.
You talked a lot about like you're sort of trying to navigate like what does the community want from the school, and and what is that relationship like? Can you speak to that just a little bit?
Sure, yeah. I think a lot of people don't know what we do here still, even though we've been here 23 years. They still don't really understand what we do. They think we're a scuba school, a lot of them. But we invite the community to all of our students' presentations, and so it's been 20 years of inviting them. Some people come and understand and others don't. But it's like this island mentality here of kind of wait for something to happen or wait for something to provide for us or wait for something to get done rather than go out and do it yourself. One of the women from the school who moved here from Trinidad is just amazed that the people in her school don't do things. Like she's even come to the principal, I've got this idea, I've got this and this and this, and she hasn't gotten the go ahead to do it. So there's this like laid back, wait around for it to happen kind of thing. So that's maybe why some of them don't come out here. They're not motivated to leave their house on a Monday night or whatever. What else do they want from us? They appreciate when we buy fish from the dock. I think when we buy locally, they see that we get our food shipped from Miami, just like their big stores do. But maybe they would want us to buy more from their stores. When our students come in here, we increase the population by like 2%.
For sure.
And when our students aren't here, it's quiet. I mean, they spend a lot of money just in the bars and the shops getting Cokes and chips, So just that kind of feedback, I think they appreciate. So they don't, I guess when I was saying with the laid back, they don't expect much necessarily. So what we provide, they're grateful and they're thankful for, I think.
They feel like threatened by the messages that you all are trying to send in terms of like trying to be sustainable?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard that because we've been smart about not trying to like tell them how to fish or what to do. We just give it's very much like just the science, just the straight up, like we don't try to enforce and we don't try to influence policy. We just give data to help, and hope that they would use it. In the long term, we are providing that data, and when and if there ever gets money put back into DEMA, they might have more to do. When there's money put here for development and tourism, we'll be able to say, hey, we took a survey of the people, here's what the people want for the future. you know, in terms of tourism and the changing islands. So that's going to be very helpful. But right now it's just so slow, and there's like not that infrastructure, or there's not that money put in. So we're not going to be able to see much like the fruit of our labor of trying to encourage things.
Where would that money come from, though? It would come from
The government?
Yeah, but I mean, the government has to generate.
Exactly, and
you know, and it's not like that.
They have tourism and everything, but they in the past the whole like budget has just been so poorly done that the Brits like took it back and were like, okay, we're just going to hold on to everything until you guys can get yourselves in line. So, but again, you can talk to everybody. They're just like, there's no money for South Caicos. The government's forgot about us. So I don't understand the politics or the governing of this place, and the revenue and the budget stuff. It's just been poorly managed and hasn't yet.
So does the school have to pay a fee to the government to like be here and to operate?
I don't know. That would be a question for Heidi. We do, I mean, yes, we have to have work permits, and I'm sure there's an operating license thing. I don't know if that's yearly. Work permits are very, very expensive. So for all the interns, for me, you know, it's like $1,000 or something to have a year-long work permit. So we're giving them that, and then paying duty on all the food and stuff we get brought in. Definitely, you know, there's fees for sure. I don't know about a yearly fee to be here. We bought this place, so we own this place. We don't pay rent or anything, and there's no property taxes in the TCI. Just want our participation. They really do. They have so much going on themselves, and they, you know, with their churches and with those various like theme weeks, they do a lot, and they just want our participation. They haven't come to us say, hey, help us plan this or help us plan this. The school teachers haven't been like, hey, I'd like to do this, come, will you help me? It's always us going to them offering things, and they're like, sure, whatever, you know. But it's definitely like, again, that laid back. I don't know why they don't come to us and plan more, because we would, and they know that, but they just have what they do. It's very old-fashioned.
Your relationship with the Sail Rock and developers?
Yeah, they show the students around too. Sail Rock especially has been great about showing our students the property and the roads. The East Bay development at East Bay used to show us around and tell us what was going on, but one of the past students, or I don't even know if it was the Sam, kind of wrote up a blog, and just one of the captions said, seagrass, blah, 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 sad for the place, or something, like a couple negative words, and if you typed in like South Caicos, that came up first. Or if you typed in East Bay, that came up, and the developers didn't like that she wrote that on there, so they didn't want to show us around anymore. I mean, the trash here is just burned. We don't have any kind of enclosed incineration at the dump. It's just burned openly. So there's some infrastructure that needs to happen to be like towards sustainability. There needs to be like some infrastructure in place first, I think, before you can get that way. Because right now, like I said, the trash just goes over there. The waste is just septic. You know, they've talked about doing some interesting gray water systems with waste, at least.
Have you all tried to like create your own infrastructure around specifically like trash and
for
like
us?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So you guys burn it?
We take it to the dump.
Which on Provo?
Then gets burned.
No, the dump's here. I mean, it's so interesting how so few people can swim. The PE teachers don't know how to swim, both at the high school and the elementary school. The PE teachers don't swim. So we're fighting it, you know, I mean, we're just not fighting a battle, but, you know, they're not being encouraged on many sides to go swim. I sometimes go and play with the kids at the beach, but their parents don't generally take them to the beach. Older brothers and sisters don't necessarily take them swimming. A lot of people are fearful of the water and just don't go in.
Interested in the social structure, like kind of what like family means here, just because I think we have a more like distinct idea of family in like the States. I guess how that translates.
My question is kind of similar to that, but more based on gender roles, because I just feel so much less comfortable around women, and I feel like today when we were going in the salons, like we got instantly rejected by so many people, and like we even had like the support of Sabrina, and like I think that was something that really stood out, because like she's typically very quiet and like kind of seems like she has like a tiny bit of an attitude like as a waiter or a waitress. So then it's kind of seeing her outside of that and her actually really going out of her way and like making that long trek to like stop in every salon to like ask, like that like really stood out, and like that was the first time I saw that, like, from a woman. And, like, it seems like the men are all totally throwing themselves out there and willing to do anything to help and, like, get you involved and stuff. But I'm not seeing that as much from the women at all. And so when that did happen today, it really stood out. And I kind of wonder why that is like that.
I want to know how we're viewed. I kind of want to understand better
the paradox of trying to preserve their culture here, but also trying to make policy and government actions to improve life. Eva said something the other day that got me thinking a lot. Because when I commented, well, first I surprised her because I commented on all the women in the governing position. She's like, I didn't think of that. But then she said something that made me think. She said, well, a lot of the women here like to they preserve the culture. That made me think, well, looking at that, maybe that's why all these women aim to be in office, because maybe they're a little bit scared of change that might, like even simple policies can change the social stratification or social structure of any nation drastically. We've seen that. So I guess I'm just curious to know not just why they're there, but what their purpose is. I mean, a lot of political figures are like, I want to make change. Maybe these women want to make change in a different way.
I'm still trying to grapple with how much outside forces are clashing with forces here on the island. You have some very specific things like the School for Field Studies. That's definitely a force that is bringing in a lot of outsiders who then mingle with the community. You have a lot of development, which I think some of these were funded by the people from Quebec. So how outside capital influences the community, but also how dynamics here, social dynamics that are specific to this island, how those then push back against those forces. So where does it fall?
I have a lot of questions, and right now I think all I really have to say is I don't know. Because when I was trying to formulate a question in my head, and some of my questions, I really couldn't come to a conclusion on those questions, whether it was a question, and was that question an internal question within this group? Was it an external question, how this group interacts with the outside community? Or was it just way out there, completely about the community outside of our group? And I just don't know.
Yeah, something Hunter and I were talking about, and kind of what you spoke to, and how we're viewed. It's interesting to think, so it was weird when we were alone, it felt like we were the only white people around, But then now it's there's a new group of School for Field Studies students that come in regularly, and so how are we viewed, when it's so temporary, and there's just there's a new group of students that come and they tour around your island and they're friendly to everybody, and then they leave, and then it's weird.
Well, that brings up a great point, and this goes back to a conversation we were having, I believe, and it's what we categorize as the human disease. And it's kind of one of the symptoms is the grass is always greener on the other side. It's always better somewhere else. And with this whole movement and influx of tourism, is the grass going to be greener? Because I mean, we've heard repetitively from all the locals that this is heaven. One man put it, "This is heaven." What else do you need? I came from a different area that didn't have that had indoor plumbing, and now I don't have indoor plumbing. And I showed up, it was crazy, but now it's this is heaven. I have everything I need. I'm provided for. I'm surrounded by happy people, and everything's great. What part are we to that disease? What grass are we bringing that they maybe don't want on their lawn? Or with the turtle thing, did they want the turtle people there? It's whose reputation is at stake with the turtles, and who really wants them there? And just this whole idea of this doing more, even just by us coming here. What grass are we bringing? Or what grass are we growing?
Whenever you think of development, you always think, change and progress, oh, they don't have this, we must build this. But then oftentimes it's so biased, and it's by our standards, and not being culturally aware or relative really does so much harm, as it's seen by so many different things. And I'm just wondering, Eva was just asking, that you wanted to know how we are viewed, and coming off of that, I'm actually wondering how we are viewing them and this whole environment, and what were we missing, and what should we kind of be aware of.
Hunter, Rosa, Jasmine, and I were talking to some students from the school, and they were surprised that like we had nicknames, or they were surprised, or like why, like they're on the dock, we never go on the dock, and that surprised me. Like they're here all the time, and they were telling us like, wow, you guys have explored so much. We don't explore that much, and I don't know. I thought that was very curious, and I'd like to know why they don't go out or explore as much.
Yeah, I think I'm also really interested because I recognize that like who I am and my role and what I look like and how I come across absolutely impacts the answers that we get. You know, and like even the way in which we ask questions elicits different answers. And so I'm really interested in the dynamics between these like stakeholders. And it's been curious to me, like every time that somebody uses that word stakeholder, what does that mean from their perspective, and who are they including in that, and who are they leaving out in that? And very often I'm feeling like what is being left out of that conversation, whether it's like from the fisheries or from the School for Field Studies or from other constituencies, like, you know, and I'm curious about how the developers talk about it too when they talk about stakeholders. And as we like come into contact with more people, there's been very little talk about actual just community members. Like the fishermen are included, but what if you're not a fisherman? Like then where do you fall? Like do you get to be a stakeholder and have a voice at the table of what's happening on this island? And just the interesting dynamics, I think. Like the give and take, right? Because it's transactional between every group, and every group's benefiting, and maybe every group is also sacrificing something.
Feels like Eastern Europe.
It does. It feels weird because like some of them have windows and doors, and this one does not. Oh my gosh! Look at the ceilings. They're already like dead. It looks like it's crumbling.
Feels like Chernobyl.
Right? Yeah.
Locals upset because everybody looking for work, and they thought this place was being done really developed by them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're pissed.
Yeah.
You know, you've been so many years, or maybe 20-something years, and none yet.
Do you wish the Turks and Caicos were independent?
That's a tough one there. I think we can handle our own.
Yeah.
I mean, back with the government, that the country was before the inquiry come in, I think we can handle our own because it wasn't like nothing coming to us. We just, I mean, what you say, survive off the tourism industry. And that's been money in our economy. So I think we will be good if we get it. And you know, but I don't know really how it's gonna play out because right now we still got to get food, everything from America and stuff like that. They had a problem with gas. The government ain't had no money, so I hope by the next month or so, I mean, we'll be able to get gas and we have a new truck. Since you know the U.S. had a by-election, hope the government gas and everything be running, and we could try to focus and try to really protect the beaches and the sea.
What else happened in 1980s? Late 80s? What? Kuwait. Kuwait. Anybody remember Kuwait?
It's being graded faster than it's being built.
Afghanistan, Kuwait, Iraq. I mean, you guys see this is all coming together.
Yeah, it's falling apart faster than it's being built.
It's just weird to see this tractor moving. Like, what is he doing?
Will, how old are you?
And like, he's not
22.
being supervised.
Oh my
also.
God.
I'm sure he's just like.
What happens when you add 1984, all those numbers together?
I mean, what's his big motivation to get this?
You figured it out. We just cracked the code.
What?
1984. Add 1 plus 8 plus 9 plus 4.
Lord.
What do you get? 22. That's exactly Will's age at this moment. Kuwait. End of the 80s. Currently we're still in Afghanistan. Johnny Depp. Have you seen the movie Blow?
Such a creative mind. I love it.